not only did I love the draft, but I love like the value of the picks that we got. Like when getting Quinyon Mitchell, obviously we needed a young cornerback, but for him to fall where he did, I thought we was gonna have to trade up to get him, but he fell to us, and it was like it was perfect the way it landed because it just seemed like it was a run on offensive tackles, and
Man,
it really helped us out. With what we was looking for in this draft. Welcome back to the Down South Philly Show. I am your co-host DP.
I am your other co-host Dom.
Man, we've been having a lot of fun with the past two episodes, just kind of narrowing down how we're gonna approach this content creation thing. But today we're gonna touch on the draft and how we feel about it. We'll go through all the picks, what they mean, and we'll go from there. So before we even get started on like a pick by pick basis, how do you feel overall about this past draft?
I actually love the draft. They kind of went in the direction that I wanted them to go. I had going into the draft, I had some things in mind that I wanted them to do. Like pretty much for me, I wanted them to focus on cornerbacks, or I did have a linebacker in mind. I did have a linebacker in mind that I either wanted to grab probably around like the second round or whatever, but we ended up going the route that we went, cornerback. I wasn't mad at that. So especially since we had went cornerback in the first round, I was like, maybe we can grab a linebacker in the second round. But for the most part, that's the only thing I really cared about. Everything after that was icing on the top for me. I just wanted to hit that secondary. How did you feel going into that draft and about the draft overall? Did you like it?
Yeah, like going into it, like you said, it was some key pieces. I felt like the defense needed some extra TLC this year in particular. So, with us to be able to go out and not only did I love the draft, but I love like the value of the picks that we got. Like when getting Quinyon Mitchell, obviously we needed a young cornerback, but for him to fall where he did, I thought we was gonna have to trade up to get him, but he fell to us, and it was like it was perfect the way it landed because it just seemed like it was a run on offensive tackles, and it really helped us out. With what we was looking for in this draft. So by the time we was up, I was like, damn, he gonna fall to us. How we didn't even have to make no jumps, and then to double it up in the second round for Cooper DeJean to fall to us, because I thought he was gonna be gone in the first round too. So we got two players at the top of the draft, like both of them were steals, and they was both positions of need. So like you said, after that, I didn't care what we did because it was just it couldn't get no better than how it landed. And then, but it did though, because we both wanted Trotter Jr. And to get him at the value that we got him at was also a steal.
It was a steal.
So, like, this is probably one of my most favorite drafts out of all the drafts we didn't ever witness as a Philly fan.
Man, you know what's crazy? The last few drafts, man, it seemed like man, I don't know, man. It was crazy because last year, boom, Jalen Carter, right there. It's like all those teams because he fell right to us, man, right to us. And then same situation with Nolan Smith, because I was like, oh man, it looked like Nolan Smith I just knew like right before we got him, he was gonna be gone. But he ended up falling right in our lap.
But the fact that we was even able to have 2 first-round draft picks after coming off a Super Bowl appearance, that just shout out to Howard. We're gonna have to do a whole episode on Howie appreciation. Just
for real though.
Just because of how he just able to make the moves that he make and to the point where now, like, he probably the most popular GM in the NFL right
Gotta
now.
be. He gotta be. I feel like, man, the only thing I don't like about that is I'm hoping it don't affect like people wanting to trade with him, because it's like now because now it's like he got a reputation of like
fucking.
Now I don't even know. Yeah, yeah, but I don't even know if like, because social media is like what people say on social media is so strong. I don't know if, because like back in the day before social media, he could do the exact same things, and if it's not a narrative out there, it don't matter. But once like social media put a narrative out there of like he's doing these type of deals or whatever, I'm wondering if like other teams and GMs and owners are looking at this like, nah, we shouldn't fool with Howie like that or whatever. Like I hope it don't like affect them in that type of way. But overall, man, I love Howie. Now, before these last 3 drafts, I was like, man, this dude Howie, man. When we passed on Justin Jefferson, we passed on DK Metcalf. Let's not even get into years before that when there was a bunch of other players that we could have had that we passed on or whatever. But just sticking on the top of this draft, because we'll go down the rabbit hole talking about Howie and drafts. How did you feel? You said you loved it. Everything else was icing on the top. Now, boom, Quinyon Mitchell fall to his first round. What was the guy named, the other cornerback that went to Detroit?
Arnold.
Yeah,
from,
Arnold.
Alabama.
Yeah. So did you want Quinyon Mitchell, or was you leaning towards Arnold?
It was like 1A, 1B. I'd have been happy with either one.
Either one, yeah.
I feel like the consensus was that Quinyon Mitchell was like the number one guy at the position, and Arnold was a runner. But like I said, I wouldn't have been mad either way. I think Quinyon Mitchell just ended up like looking more the part from which really don't mean much, but like he was just a bigger guy, and ultimately he a Philly guy. But I'd have been happy. I'd have been happy either way.
Yeah, me too. I would have been happy either way. I think I was leaning towards Quinyon Mitchell just because, first off, it seemed like he was a huge fan of Slade. So I was like, you get a guy who already been talking about Slade before I was like, that's perfect for us. Because like I was saying last episode, I'm a huge fan of young guys getting in and being able to learn from vet. And man, who better to learn from, especially on our team, than doggone big play Slade. So I was kind of glad with the Quinyon Mitchell move. Now I would have, like you said, I would have been happy with either move. As long as we was going cornerback in the first round was all I really was worried about. Because previous drafts we wanted to go wide receiver. We might have went either somewhere else, or we would have grabbed the wrong wide receiver. We grabbing somebody you could have got second, third round. So I'm just hoping Howie had pulled the trigger on the right guy, which he did.
Yeah.
So I feel like you couldn't go wrong with either one of those. A lot of people were trying to say that Arnold coming out of Alabama had more. He was more ready because he saw more guys who were wide receivers and guys of his nature, talent wise, that were like first round draft picks and more talented or whatever. They were saying that he would be more NFL ready. Which I mean, to me, like once you get into the NFL, you get with the right team, the right coaches, all that ain't gonna necessarily matter. Especially if you might not even mess around to start anyway, because Quinyon Mitchell or Terry Arnold might not even be able to beat Isaiah Rodgers out for that job anyway. Thanks. So whoever you would have got in here to be able to learn behind somebody was a great pickup. Now, boom, we move on from that round, and now we're going on into the second round.
Man, I still wanted the gene, but it was just more like a pipe dream. Until we get to the second round, and I'm like, damn, it's another real possibility that we might get this dude. And then it's a crazy feeling, like when your team picked the exact dude that you want. It's like a lottery pick, because the last time I really felt like that, obviously I wanted Carter last year. I wanted
like I know what you about to say. Oh, I thought you was gonna say Smitty.
No, I wanted Smitty, but I'm going way back. I'm going back to Jeremy Maclin. I wanted him.
Yeah.
This before I even really was watching like a whole bunch of football, but I just remember like watching Mizzou in particular that year, and I was like, man, it'd be dope if Jeremy Magner ended up a Eagle, and I'd be damned if he ain't end up an Eagle. And he had a decent career with us. So it just feel good to be able to get the guy that you actually want without having nothing to do with it.
Nah, I really do. Man, it almost seemed too good to be true. That's just like almost every time we got somebody I want. I'm sitting there like, all right, we got the guy that I wanted. Now that we got him, it's like, is he gonna be good? Because it's like,
Right.
I feel like if we would have went to some other team, I would be like, dang, we should have got him. But when we got him, it's like, I got the guy that we wanted. Now it was like, I don't know, man. It's a weird feeling. Because when we got Jordan Davis, I was like, I was happy about that. Jalen Carter, I was happy about that. Now, one thing y'all gonna learn about this channel is we'll probably get off topic a little bit, but I gotta ask him this question on camera because a lot of people are talking about Jordan Davis. I don't know. A lot of people kind of just like how they was down. We kind of touched on this last episode about Nakobe Dean, but a lot of people was kind of down on Jordan Davis. How you feel about that? Then I'll get into how I feel about it.
Man, get off Jordan Davis nuts. That's how I feel about that. Because I mean, like for real, just with the defense and everything, it's hard pressed to find anybody that had a great season last year. So like it was the whole team as a whole had a pretty much if not a bad season, definitely a disappointing season. So I can't just be down on any one player. And Jordan Davis, when the team was 10-1, was balling. So that's kind of where I stopped the evaluation of all the players is right. At that 10-1 mark. At that point, I wasn't really down on anybody other than the coordinators. So yeah, I just feel like, you know, he came, if you remember last season, he came in like in shape and he was balling. He was graded he was grading out as one of the top DTs, you know, in the league at the beginning of the season. So just like everybody else, it just ran out of gas. So if you out on them, either you ain't really been watching the tape or you just going with the narrative the most popular narrative that, you know, everything fell off the tracks.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like to point fingers. They really don't necessarily be, like you said, watching the tape. They don't know what they're watching. Or they don't know how to put things into perspective. They just want to win. They think everything's supposed to be perfect. But like you said, Jordan Davis, he was balling out last year, man. Now this year he's coming in a little bit better shape. He's gonna hit the ground running. He knows what's expected of him. I'm not down on Jordan Davis. I think, yeah, he was drafted in the first round, but I mean, the time that you need is the time that you need. Just because you drafted in the first round doesn't mean you're gonna be what some people may think that you need to be that first year or that second year. Some people, a lot of players take their third year to, you know, really have that breakout season. Now, Jalen Carter, year one, hey, it's a different type of animal. But he kind of like a generational talent. Like a lot of people not going to do that. I don't care who you are drafting in the first round. There's not that many guys that's going to consistently like be great their rookie year. They might have an okay season or a really good season, but it's not too many guys that you see. I guess you can say living up to that first round, that first round status they put on you. But Jordan Davis, I still like him. I don't feel like we need to bring in anybody because Jordan Davis is not going to be able to stay on the field. No, I think he'll be able to handle the load, and he's got to play with and behind a lot of vets. He's been in the NFL for 2 years. You know, coming off that first year, going into your second season, you get to make an adjustment. And I think what happened is he made an adjustment. And I think what happened is, just year two, he see what adjustment he need to make for year three. These guys he going into his third year. It takes you a while to, completely learn the NFL. You're not just, going to necessarily come out the gate guns blazing. But yeah, I love Jordan Davis. But getting back on topic of the draft, we was getting ready to talk about Cooper DeJean. You were saying how he fell into our lap.
Yeah, it's just like I said, he fell into our lap. And here's my thing with players, even if they don't pan out, like if it's a guy that I wanted and he don't pan out, then I just take that on the chin. It just is what it is. The NFL is a hard place to work. So, you going against the best,
I
but
agree.
when if it's a guy that I wanted and he don't pan out, I'm not really mad about it because that's who I
Yeah.
wanted anyway. It's just
Right.
tough to see, let's get somebody. Well, first of all, it's tough to pass up on a guy that you want and that play a ball out. It's also tough to watch your team pass on somebody that guy ball out and the guy that you pick not pan out. I think
Right.
that's like the damn unholy trinity right there. To see a guy that you wanted ball out while the dude that you picked that you could have had just don't pan out. I think that's probably one of the worst feelings. Being a football fan is to see that process play out. But like you said, Howie, the past 3 years, something clicked. It seemed like he just stopped overthinking it and stop trying to be the smartest guy in the room and just take the guy that's there, the best player available. I feel like that's probably the best with any draft. Obviously you want to assess the needs, but at the end of the day, as long as you take the best player available, you good.
Yeah, I agree. The whole Cooper DeJean situation, I was happy with that. Like you said, he kind of, we did trade up to get him, but I mean, it was possible because he was still on the board. That man was projected to be gone the first round or whatever. Now, yeah. So I was surprised that Washington, of all people, traded with us and made that happen. Now it has come out now, like the actual footage of Howie in the war room in Washington, in their war room, having this conversation, which was it was pretty funny. Just to see somebody willing and dealing with Howie. But yeah, I love the pick. Like you said, like I said before, I wasn't gonna be mad whether it would have been a linebacker or a cornerback right there. Cooper DeJean was probably about the best guy left on the board. I also had my eye on I forgot his name now, but the guy who went to the Cardinals. What's
Was
his
it
name?
dude out of Texas A&M?
Was he from Texas A&M?
Was it the
I don't know.
linebacker?
Nah, I wasn't a linebacker. I know who you're talking about though. I had my eye on him too, but I'm talking about the cornerback that went to Arizona. What's his
Can't think of
name?
his name.
Tell y'all in a second. But while I'm looking that up, but yeah, I was happy about the Cooper DeJean sign because he like a chess piece. You can use him all over the board. He can play multiple positions. He's very athletic. Yeah, I just love that pickup, man. Anything after that was the icing on top, and I think him and Quinyon Mitchell coming in at the same time, like that gives us a timeline of great cornerback play, or potentially. Because let's say this is let me say this as well. Now y'all already know this, but none of this stuff is like guaranteed. None of these players is like guaranteed to work out. Otherwise, teams would pick who they know. Like if it was a known thing, teams would pick that player. So, like you said, it's a little bit easier. It's easier to get a guy who looks the part, who you should pick, versus like some random pick, and then you like, why you pick that guy? And then the guy don't pan out on top of that. It's like, man, come on. But like if you pick a guy, yeah, but if you pick a guy like Cooper DeJean, who you know is like a first round talent, and he don't work out, it's kind of like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Everything's not gonna pan out. It's different. Like now you do have those people who still try to come out and be like, "Wow, we should have picked so and so." Well, at the time we didn't know that, or else we would have picked that person, or another team would have got him if that's the case. Tom Brady wouldn't have went where he went in the draft if they knew what Tom Brady was gonna be. So no, none of this stuff is a guarantee.
Man, so it's like I just said, I'm just so happy that it felt the way it felt, and I was just a little shocked because speaking about Cooper DeJean, you know, if things fell how they was expected to fall, he probably would have been our number one draft pick. You know, because all the boards had Quinyon and Arnold already gone by the time we picked him. So you know, he could quite literally have been our first round draft pick. To get him in the second round, that's crazy.
Yeah, the guy that I was talking about was Max Melton, went to Rutgers.
Yeah, you was high
Yeah,
on
I was high
Melton.
on my. Hey, I'm gonna be watching him all season, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not saying that I wanted him over Coop, but what I'm
Yeah,
saying
you
is
just wanted
if
him.
yeah, I just wanted him. Like if
Mm-hmm.
Coop would have been gone, I think in my opinion, if we wasn't gonna go linebacker, that's who I wanted.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely happy with the Cooper DeJean's pickup. I think he's gonna be a player for us. Like he got some good vets in there with him. He got a good team around him. Good. I'm glad he got a vet coordinator who know how to use him. Who will know how to use him. Probably put him in the best position versus a young, inexperienced coordinator who hasn't really seen a whole lot or done a whole lot. A lot of people are also down on Nolan Smith, man. A lot of people are like, man, look, this man barely got to play last year. Like, what is the? It's that first round, man. It's something about getting drafted in that first round, man. People expect so much out of you, even if you ain't on the field. It's crazy. I think he was in a situation where you playing on the edge behind doggone Hassan Riddick and
Sweat.
Josh Sweat. You're not gonna really get no PT like that. You a rookie, man? Come on. Um, I think the little bit of time that he got will help him going forward. And he going into this season, he done put a little bit more weight on, a little bit more strength growing into his body. He's now about to be with a defensive coordinator that will know how to use him, put him in the best position. So I think over these next 2 years, we'll start seeing what Nolan Smith will be in the NFL. He was drafted in the first round, so he got that fifth round option. Like I said before, I'm not one of those guys who, regardless of where you got drafted, sometimes players might take a little bit to develop. Because imagine this: imagine we down on Nolan Smith. He ended up going to another team right when it's starting to click for him, and this man is like one of the best things that ever happened to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you just got to give players time to develop. Brandon Graham. Imagine if we had got rid of Brandon Graham.
And the crazy
That
thing
might have
about
been the
that,
Super Bowl right there.
we're probably, with the way the NFL is, there'll never be another player to get that much development time.
Yeah,
with the current style.
Mm-hmm. They'll end up developing on either another team or falling to the wayside.
Mm-hmm. Not out of a first round draft pick.
Right. So I'm hyped to see what we get out of Nolan Smith these next 2 years. Who do we get next in the draft?
Should be like, was it
I don't think we
Jalix?
had. Well, it might have been Jalix. So let me pull it back up.
We may not even. The third round was frustrating to me because we traded back so much, and we basically traded out of the third round. I don't think we technically did, but we did a whole lot of willing and dealing in that third round.
Yeah, we ended up getting Jalix Hunt.
Okay,
Edge.
so it was Jalix, which he
from Houston Christian.
I'd be lying if I said I knew anything about him before that pick was made. But just looking at his tape and listening to, Vic and them talk about why they picked him and his potential. I mean, if they like it, I love it. We ain't gonna. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm 100%. I don't know everything about every college player, so some picks that could be a diamond in the rough, and with him being picked in the third round, that means that they actually wanted him. So we'll see how he pan out.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I don't. Some people have their philosophy on when you should get experimental or developmental type players. For me, is depends on the team, man. It depends on the team. Depends on your needs. It depends on what they see. Depends on how the draft is going. It's a lot that goes into that. But as far as Jalen Hunt, after watching, like you said, I didn't know who he was, but after watching it a little bit of his college tape, and now he did go to Houston Christian. I'm not going. I mean, that is what it is. But he to use the words that they use, he has the tools in his body. They love saying that. But he's a very athletic player. He looked like he could be something. They if they develop him the right way, you gotta remember when we got Josh Sweat.
I was about to say he remind me of Josh Sweat.
Yeah, because like even when we first got Josh Sweat, I remember we would put Josh Sweat in here and there, and I used to be like,
flashes.
Oh, man, that Josh Sweat dude going, hey, I was like, they need to play him more or whatever. And at the time, like, as he started becoming a starter, it was coming out that like before he wasn't getting more playing time because it was just like little nuanced stuff he needed to work on, like whether it was his technique or his get off or the playbook or whatever that he was still getting down or whatever. But once he started getting it down, man, because like I said, the flashes was there. I've been was loving Josh Sweat way before anybody really was talking about him. It was like every time he would get in, he would make a play or he'll be right there. So I wasn't surprised when he became the starter and when he got paid. So we may can get the same thing out of Jalix. Now going to the next pick, that was a third round, 94th pick overall. Fourth round, 127 pick overall. We got running back Will Shipley, Clemson.
Yeah, so I was a fan of that pickup. Obviously, we needed some running back depth because getting rid of Swift and not wanting to run Saquon into the ground. Being here in Columbia, South Carolina, and being in Gamecock country, I've had the displeasure of watching Will Shipley run wild all over the Gamecocks. So I know what he's capable of. So I didn't really think that he was on our radar, but I understood the pick 100%.
Yeah, now y'all will start to learn. Now maybe I will start getting into it now, but y'all will start to learn. I don't really watch a whole lot of college. Here and there I might catch a game. Or if it's a certain player making a lot of noise, I might check them out. So I had no idea who Will Shipley was. So when I went to go watch his tape, just like when y'all went to go watch his tape, man, this dude, he can catch. He can catch out of the backfield, man. He got great vision. Honestly, the way people talking about the way the people talking about him, it reminds me of when we got Gainwell. Because when we first got Gainwell, they was talking about how great of hands he had catching, and stuff like that. And I was watching Kenny Gainwell did a interview recently, and he was saying I think in high school he was a quarterback, and then he ended up I think when he went to college or whatever, he got transitioned to running back or whatever. Maybe it had something to do with his size and something else. But I never knew he used to be a quarterback. But speaking of Gainwell, while we on the subject, and there's another person everybody like, not everybody, but some people are not happy with Gainwell because a lot of people wasn't really happy with Gainwell last year when he was. I think that first game when we played the Patriots, Gainwell was starting, and a lot of people was mad. But my whole point of view of that was maybe he just, Swift was new to the team, so maybe it was stuff that Swift probably still didn't pick up on yet that Gainwell still knew because he had already been in the offense. So whether that was like blocking or just being a guy that was there before, so they wanted to, start him or whatever. And then also just because a guy's the first person on the field doesn't mean he's gonna always get the boatload of the carries or whatever. Like it don't really matter if you the first person starting on the field, like on the roster, or whatever. It matters like what you do when you get the ball and how many opportunities they give you. But I can't say that I'm down on Gainwell. I think he's gonna be a good complement to Saquon Barkley in that room. He's still a great runner. I feel like we don't throw the ball to Gainwell enough. I don't feel like we throw the ball to any of our running backs enough. So hopefully Kellen Moore will, open that up. I think the opportunities will be there with us having Dallas Goedert in the middle of the field and us having those two monsters on the outside that we got. We know what they're going to do. I think the running backs can have a lot of opportunities, just like I think if we start using the running backs well, I think that'll open it up for everybody else even more. So, and I think Gainwell can contribute to that. Now, if Saquon was to go down, I don't know what the running back room would look like after that. I'm not sure who we're going to have in that third spot, and I'm not sure how much of a load that Gainwell will bear to carry as a starter on his own. But I like Gainwell. I just feel like we don't because if you even go back to the Super Bowl run that we had, we started using Gainwell more than what's his
Booby.
name? Booby. So we started using Gainwell even more, and everybody was calling for Gainwell to start. Everybody. So now we go into this next season. That's one thing about these fans, man, and people in general. You mess up a little bit or one time or a couple times, they ready to replace you. Even if they just use you to replace the last guy that they was trying to. It's crazy. It's crazy to me how this stuff works. But how you feel about Gainwell?
You already know what I'm about to say. Get off Gainwell nuts. I'm not down on no player from last year.
Yeah, me
just
either.
the way things, and it's hard for me to be down on a player anyway. Of course, we had some players that after a while, but they earn like, by the time that we down on them, it's because they deserve it. Gainwell hadn't done anything for me to be out on him. The Super Bowl year, he was running his ass off. Some could argue that he was a better running back down the stretch for us making that Super Bowl run.
Yeah, Miles Sanders
because Miles just, things happen. He just didn't make the plays where they was needed to be made, and Gainwell did. And last year wasn't no different. Gainwell, he made plays when he could, running behind one of the best lines in the NFL. Didn't run the ball nearly as much as we needed to succeed. Didn't use him or Swift correctly in the passing game. I think what ended up hurting us was if there was any knock that you could have on Swift, it was pass protection, and maybe that's why somebody like Gainwell earned the nod over him in some of the passing situations, because we wasn't throwing it to the running back anyway, and that's where Swift is most dangerous. So if anything, that's probably why Gainwell got more of the touches from that aspect. But nah, I ain't down on Gainwell at all. I'm interested to see what he bring now that he's back. I think he's always been a complimentary piece, and it looks like this year he's gonna be back to that. So I think we'll get the best out of him, and hopefully, him and Shipley can
hold down those next two spots.
Hold down them next two.
Yeah, another thing we kind of touched on this last episode when we were talking about acquiring Saquon, but another thing that I like about the Saquon addition, especially since we got well, not got rid of, but retired. Since Kelsey retired, man, having somebody like Saquon in that backfield that can make a guy miss, or just give you that extra, what he brings to the table. I think with the loss of Kelsey, I think somebody, because Saquon is coming from a Giants organization that never really had a line the whole time he was there. So coming behind a great line that just lost one great player, that it's gonna be hard to replace Kelsey, but having the guys that we have in there to hold it down, even if we fall off just a little bit, I think we'll be able to make that up with a guy like Saquon. So that is one thing that I like, having Saquon over Swift. So I forgot to kind of mention that last episode, and just kind of thought about it.
That would have been a
But
nasty
yeah,
combo, Saquon and Swift.
man.
Just saying.
I've seen a lot of people talking about. I've seen a lot of people talking about if he was to get cut, will we bring Miles Sanders back? I'll be open to it. I think a lot of play. Just one thing that I noticed, I could be wrong, or it could just I don't know, but I think a lot of players just play well in Philly, man. Like players that we draft that go on to other teams. Now it's hard to kind of say for certain players because sometimes you just go to a bad situation. But I think if Miles Sanders was to return to Philly and him and Saquon, who are already friends, know each other.
They played together.
They play together. Man, do you Saquon and Booby?
But I think him and Saquon kind of did the reverse. Last year, Booby just went to a worse situation. Rookie quarterback, terrible offensive line, no weapons. He basically went to the Giants. So, when it's hard to do well in that situation. Then you mess around and get hurt.
Right.
So I really, we still don't know what Miles Sanders got in the tank, but I don't have no reason to believe that he done after having one of the best seasons of his career 2 years ago. So I welcome any vet that wasn't a problem to begin with back in the organization behind a good line and not having to worry about being the guy. I feel like if he does come back, it would be a great situation for him.
A lot of people be hating on these players for going to get their money. Nah, they should have just stayed. They should have took a discount. Because why would you? All right, for example, the whole Tyreek Hill situation. They was like, well, yeah, he went and got paid more in Miami, but he could have got 5 million, 10 million less, or 6 million, whatever that number is, a few million less. Stay with Patrick Mahomes and won Super Bowls. Well, I don't care like what team you playing for. One, health is not guaranteed, so he could easily get hurt and be done for the rest of his career. Two, you could be in a situation where y'all don't even go to a Super Bowl. So none of this stuff is guaranteed. So when you can go get guaranteed money, I'm never gonna hate on a player for going to go feed their family, because at the end of the day, organizations gonna do what's best for them. They could teams could get rid of players at the drop of a hat. So it's best for players to do what's in the best interest of them. Now, as a fan of a team, a lot of times we don't want to see these players go, but man, it is what it is. We know the nature of the NFL. But yeah, I would welcome Miles Sanders back, man. I think him and Saquon Saquon would be a nasty combination. Just like I think Gainwell can be.
Yeah, I really think overall on the offensive side of the ball we good. I don't really have no concerns except for maybe wide receiver depth. We'll see what additions like Paris Campbell and John Ross and Anaya
we
Smith.
didn't talk about Paris Campbell either, man. I like that pickup. That's one. We should have touched on that last episode as well. I told y'all, man, we be all over the place. But Paris Campbell, man, Paris Campbell, I really like that pickup. A lot of people won't. We're gonna get onto it. We're gonna talk about him in a second. But a lot of some people are calling for either us to pick up another wide receiver. Some people calling for Anaya Smith. Some people, of course, they want John Ross, but a lot of people don't. Actually, it's a good people. This is the thing how people feel about players in the NFL. They go off like the last time they seen you. They don't care about your health. They don't care about the situation. They don't care about, like, a lot of times with me, I kind of look at like, all right, what type of situation was they in? Like what was going on around them that may have made them play this way? And it's because a lot of times you can come to Philly when you're around other great players and you're in a great town, you're on a great team with great coaches. That's gonna bring the best out of you. So the way they played in another organization, we're gonna get something out you in Philly. If you can't get nothing out you in Philly, then you might not be meant to play here. So, but 9 times out of 10, man, you go to an organization with other great players around you, and it takes the load off of you, because if you just like the main guy, you guys don't really have like a great offense or a great quarterback or something like that. They can make you look totally different than if you come over to a team like this, which is why people like Paris Campbell want to come play for Philly, because you got those two guys on the outside that's gonna open it up for you, not to even forget Dallas Goedert. So I really like that Paris Campbell. I think he gonna make the team. I think he may end up being that guy we'll see in camp. I like Anaya Smith, who was what pick was he in the draft? Since we're talking about
next.
Let me see. Anaya Smith was. I don't know how I keep getting off my draft screen. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he was next. He was the 152nd pick, 5th round. Anaya Smith, Texas A&M. I really loved his film. He looked like he was a dog.
Yeah.
Man, great after the catch, great run after the catch, breaking tackles, very shifty. Just a straight up, what you would be looking for out of a wide receiver that would play that third role, play in the slot. So I don't know what he's going to be able to do this year.
Return. Hopefully we can get some return out of him too.
Man, it's it's funny. We went from dang near, I don't want to say putting anybody, but it seemed like we went from either not really having returners or just putting anybody back there to like, seem like every other guy can do some kind of return. We got Cooper the Gene, Isaiah Rodgers can return. We still got we got Anaya Smith. We still got my guy from last year. What's his name? Covey. Gainwell can return. But I say any of these guys that's gonna be starters, don't put them back there. Just gonna let them do. Because we got so many guys now.
I really don't see Rodgers doing it just because of how he's showing out at cornerback. I think that's probably gonna be like a last resort type thing. But we need bro to be fresh.
Yeah, I honestly like. I feel like we didn't put him back there enough, but I honestly like whenever we had Gainwell back there.
Scott did. Boston Scott was good back there.
Yeah, Boston Scott.
He was good. Return,
Boston Scott. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm talking about Gainwell. I think I'm thinking about Boston Scott. Because we put Boston Scott back there before, last year a couple times, right? Yeah. So we don't got Boston Scott no more. I think he went to the Rams. Hey, it's gonna be sad to see my guy go, man. Boston Scott. I'm gonna still be checking him out around the way. I follow him on social media. I wonder if the Rams play the Giants this year. Nah, I don't think they do. That'd have been funny though. But
we might.
I think they might have played them. I think they might have played them. Yeah, we played them last year for sure. I don't know if we're gonna play them 2 years in a row. Are we playing? Who in that?
I think we playing that division.
I mean that division.
I think
so. They might be playing the Giants then. I can't remember who all we playing.
I could be wrong, but I think so. I know for sure we playing. So that's the Rams, the Niners, the.
We don't play the Niners.
Oh well, then we don't play the division then.
Well, the Niners play Dallas though.
Well, that's because that's the first place. That's how how schedules is made. They play since both of them finished first place. They got to play each other.
Well, who else?
We play the second place team. So it's the Rams, the Niners, the Seahawks, and Arizona.
I don't think we play none of them teams. But yeah, so that's Anaya Smith. Did you say how you felt about Anaya Smith?
Just to echo what you were saying. He's it was a position of need, and I feel like even if he doesn't win that 3 spot or that 4 spot, he could at least give us something in the return game.
Another 5th round pick. 3 picks later, we get Jeremiah Triad Jr.
Now that was the one that we was like ringing the bell for, because we was thirsty for a running back. At this time we just begging Howie to pull the trigger on any linebacker that's what I meant. That's what I meant, linebacker. We begging at this point. We begging Howie to pull the trigger on a linebacker. So for it to be, again, one of them guys that we wanted, and at the value we got him at,
right.
I think it was a no brainer. Of course he got lineage of Pops playing at a very high level in Philly. So it was dope to see the lineage. It was dope to see it was somebody that we actually wanted.
Full circle moment.
Whether he pans out or not, that's a different story. Obviously, with him being picked that low, he's gonna get some time to develop, which as we're gonna keep ringing this bell. It's ideal for us to have our guys, sit behind vets anyway. So ain't no rush for me to have them start. Some people may want them to start just because of the name recognition, but I love the pick.
Yeah, I love the pick as well. Man, I loved his dad when he played here. I remember watching dang near all those games, watching try to knock somebody's head off. But yeah, I mean, you're starting to see even like his last year of college. Like I said before, I don't really watch a whole lot of college, but I did like even before we drafted him, I was watching like his highlights and stuff. So you could see as like time went on, he was getting better and better every season. I think he had got hurt. I think he had ended up getting hurt. It kind of affected him a little bit, but I think with him getting time to develop on this roster, they don't throw him out there too early. He got a few guys, 3-4 guys in front of him. They give him that year or two to develop. Man, we could see a lot out of this guy. And this will be a situation like this is a narrative that I won't like because, like, let's say Nakobe Dean for whatever reason don't pan out, and eventually Trotter does. Now they're gonna try to paint it as if Trotter was a better player, but really he didn't get thrown into the fire right away, and he got time to develop. Not that Nakobe Dean did, but his first 2 years he didn't really get to play. So,
right.
But yeah, moving on from the Jeremiah Trotter junior pick, we got guard Trevor Keegan out of Michigan. Now, when it comes to like linemen, I ain't nobody watching no linemen like that. Unless your team in need for a lineman and you then got as soon as the season over, you ain't have no playoff hopes. You probably was already looking at guards or whatever position they need. But I didn't know nothing about no Trevor Keegan, but he looked like a solid pickup.
Yeah, and then I trust whenever it come to the O line in particular, with whatever they pick, I'm good with it.
Stout and stamped it. Yep. So anybody we get on that. Oh man, well Makai. We didn't even talk about Makai Becton. What's up? We didn't on the accusations.
As an addition. The
addition last season. We didn't talk about Makai Becton. So
that's a good depth piece.
Man,
we need depth on the offensive line, especially with us, losing some of the players that we had. But I feel like Makai Becton, he could. First of all, he a big dude, first round talent. Look like he can be our swing tackle, maybe even in line to fight for that right guard position, which would make us a huge offensive line yet again. But I love the signing. He definitely, I don't have nothing bad to say about it because at the end of the day, we're not necessarily depending on him to start. So, if he can come in and hopefully he don't have to come in at a tackle position, but this the NFL. If he able to win that right guard spot, great. But I think it was a great signing.
Yeah, and if he can mess around like you said, that could be somebody. Shoot, he can mess around, and take Lane's spot when Lane, you know what I'm saying, and hold that down. So I mean, shoot, we might already have our guy in the building. So we'll see. I guess after this season, we'll see how this season go, how they use him, and then if we keep him next season, because that's somebody. If Stout gonna get the best out of somebody, he'll get it up out of him, and that's somebody that I think can hold down any position we end up using him as. So hopefully he could be somebody for the future, and that'll save us a draft pick. We use for somebody else in the draft. So that could be a steal, man. So be on the lookout for that to be talked about in the future. We mess around to have Makai Becton for the next doggone. How long he been in there? We can have him for the next 10 years.
He ain't been in there long. If we can get 5 to 10 years out of him, that'll be worth it.
Yep, man. So next pick was wide receiver Johnny Wilson out of Florida State. How you was feeling about that?
Yeah, this is where I was kind of iffy on. I didn't feel like he fit what we was looking at. Maybe from a standpoint of maybe he was the best available. I can't really remember because at this point, like I said, it's all icing on the cake for us, in real time looking at the draft. So it really didn't matter at this point, but I didn't personally understand the pick just because I didn't feel like he fit for what we was looking for. Early reports saying that he actually ended up being decent. Maybe he'll make the team, but I just feel like what I wanted out of the wide receiver position was a dog at 3. I want a dog at 3 and a dog at 4 that can do the little stuff because we already got 1 and 2 down pat. So I didn't feel like I don't really see him as that 3 person with them other 2 on the field.
Yeah, I agree. Everything you just said. When we first got him, let me say this. I'm my own person. I don't really get influenced by other people's opinions. I watch the tape. I watch the games and I watch the tape. But the reason why I'm saying that is because, like, after we got him, once again, I didn't really know who Johnny Wilson was, so I go look him up. One of the things I saw when I went to go look him up was Steve Smith evaluation on him. I'm not gonna say what Steve Smith. I'm not gonna repeat what Steve Smith said, but if you ain't see it, just go watch the tape. But I mean, I kind of already was just like, man, I ain't gonna say I was high or low on Johnny. I mean, he a late round draft pick, so it is what it is. But and I'm not one to say that a guy can or can't develop. Like he could be developing to something. And I'm also not really one to try to say a player should move to a different position because a lot of people will be like, well, look at his body frame, he should be a tight end. I mean, I'm not gonna tell this man he need to be a tight end. If he think he can be a wide receiver in the team, keep him at wide receiver. All you can do is work on developing. That's just like a lot of people kept trying to put doggone Lamar at running back. The man is a quarterback. Right. I'm not gonna say Johnny Wilson should be a tight end. If Johnny Wilson moves to tight end, I'll, as an Eagles fan, hope he could be the tight end, that best tight end that he can be. I'm always gonna pull for an Eagles player. A lot of people fall into this thing where, like, if we get a player they don't like, they self-sabotage, like hoping the player don't pan out because they didn't know. I mean, if you're an Eagle, you're an Eagle. I hope you pan out. Just because you wasn't the guy that I wanted, I'm not going to hope you hurt the team. Just because I want something personal. I got something personal against you that for whatever reason. Sense. Yeah, it don't even make sense. People just be talking. So I hope Johnny Wilson pan out. Like, well, I mean, we got 2 starters already, so I mean, he gonna be in an eliminated role regardless. But I mean, he on the team, so
just make the most out of the opportunities, young fella. That's all I can say.
Yep. So
he in a hell of a room.
Yeah, for real. The last pick was 6th round pick, 190th overall. Dylan what is that, McMahon? Something like that. North Carolina State.
What was his?
I don't know how position to say his name, but make something. But he a center.
Okay, so again, that's just one of them. Anytime you get down to the bottom of the draft like that, like, I mean, it just kind of what it is. I kind of would defer back to the fact that I'm never gonna question a Stoutland pick just because of the position coach we have in house. If they pick him, they must see something in him, and even if he was that guy, it wasn't like we would know who he was anyway, just because of the position that he plays. So I trust Stout. He welcome to Philly. I hope he pan out. If I'm not mistaken, Wasn't Kelsey was he a 6th-round pick? I can't remember what.
I can't remember.
I think Kelsey might have been like a 6th-rounder. So I mean,
I think he might have been.
I trust the process when it comes to that position. Obviously, we don't watch centers at any level. We just was blessed to have one of the best ones to ever do it and be able to see it real time. So maybe he'll if he don't pan out as a center, maybe he'll be our next starting guard next year. Who knows?
Yeah. So yeah, I know it was a lot of guys. For the last few years, we had a lot of guys that were just like great backup guys. Some of those guys left and went to other teams. So now we kind of replenishing the well, man. Stout doing this thing. So he gonna get the starters ready. He gonna get the backups ready as if they're starters, man. I wholeheartedly believe in everything Stoutland doing. I don't really like second guess that, man. I know a lot of people be like, man, why he don't ever be an offensive coordinator or head coach? Man, he don't want to be that. That man want to be an offensive. Like he know exactly what his wheelhouse is. Not saying that he can't be those things, but I don't think he want to be those things. And I'm personally hoping, maybe selfishly, you can add that in the future when he ready to give that thing up, Kelsey can slide on in there, man.
Ooh, that would be nasty if them TV checks ain't hitting too hard. But I mean, that just go back to what McDonald's known for: burgers and fries. That's what we had with Stoughton. We know for a fact. Need to
make no kind of steaks.
Burgers and fries. Matter of fact, that's when we are watching the games and texting and all that. That's what's whenever we get on the run game. That's what I'm gonna say. It's gonna be a burger emoji and a fry emoji. You already know.
Burgers and fries. Hey, y'all look out for that on the community post.
Yeah, it's gonna be on X too. That's all I'm gonna do on X. Burgers and fries.
Burgers and fries, but nah, man, that's pretty much what we wanted to touch on this episode, man. Just kind of run through the draft, how we felt about those players. I think next episode we'll probably get into the NFC. You'll probably see us touch more back on the draft stuff that we probably forgot about, stuff like that. We don't got no show notes. Maybe that's something we could tighten up on in the future so we can like touch and stuff at the same time. But for the most part, man, like I said, we doing what we was doing off camera, man. Sitting around talking about ball, we really just putting it on camera. Like this is what we sit around on in person, text message, group chat, man. We talking Eagles, man. We talking birds. So we was like, man, really all we did now was turn the camera on. So you'll see us all over the place. We talking about old players, new players, young players, potential players. Man, it was crazy because I was watching the year before we got Smitty. We needed a wide receiver, so I was watching who they had, Henry Ruggs, I think. It might have been Ruggs coming out that year before. Did they have who else was on that team?
Alabama?
Who else was on there? It was Smitty, Ruggs, and somebody else.
Smitty, Waddle. Jalen Waddle.
Waddle. Oh, okay. So I might have been. I don't think I was watching. I think I was watching Ruggs. So I think I might have been watching some Ruggs highlights, man. Hoping that he could come to Philly, and Smitty was jumping off the screen. I'm like, man, who is this dude, man? Because now it's rare that you go on YouTube and watch a player's highlights
and see
and in the middle of that, yeah, and you see. So at the time, I was like, because I'm looking into it, I'm like, okay, that dude coming out in the draft next year, but I'm like, dang, like he really standing out. So it was so crazy to me that we got him the next year, and like when we got him, I was like, yo, this is the same player that I was just like got on my radar last year. That was standing out to me in a whole other person's film. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I was watching. It could have been Waddle. I don't think Waddle played that last year, but that the Waddle highlights before that, I think might have had a little Smitty or something in them too. I don't know. I just remember watching other players from Alabama, and Smitty was all over. I never really seen that before. That like you watching the player, because usually they cut up to be that one player. So it was crazy to see him like shining in somebody else's highlights. So then he come to Philly.
Smitty as advertised, boy.
Man, he's put up 1,000 yards every year. Did he get 1,000 his rookie season?
No, I think he was like 4 yards. He was 4 yards away.
Yeah, right. Man, now if he get to the end of his career and have 1,000 yards every season, but that rookie season, it's gonna be crazy. But I mean even that in itself is still great. It don't even really matter. But yeah, man, that's all we really.
His he was the bright spot in our playoff loss.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To the Bucks, man. He was all over that. We were saying this the other day. I was like, man, they go to show you, like if he was the guy, he could hold it down or whatever. Now Smitty a small guy. Now we don't want to get him hurt, but I like the role that he in now. Splitting that load with AJ. I like him better. That way, I think you can get the best out of him. That way,
and AJ,
longevity wise, you got to,
I said and AJ. I feel like they.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, AJ too. Yep. Yeah, I feel like you see before we got AJ, there was everything him too as well. It's always something. Man, people don't really realize it. The team that you own, man, really make a difference. The team that you own, the players around you, and your utilization, the coaches, all that stuff play a part, man. And I think a lot of people just want what they want, and they don't really like put things into perspective of what's really going on. But did I say what we were talking about next episode? Oh yeah, next episode we're gonna talk about. I kind of said it already, but I'll repeat myself. But we're gonna talk about the that team with a star on their helmet, and then we're gonna talk about Washington. I don't even like their name, man. Washington Commanders. But anyway, and then we're gonna talk about the little people. They call them Giants. I call them the little people. But we're gonna get into talking about the other NFC, what they did in their off season, what they did in the draft. Depending on how long we go, they could be split up into 2 episodes, man, because we get on here and get a chat. But yeah, I guess until next time, man. This has been episode 3.
Yes, sir. The Down South Philly podcast, baby.
Down South Philly podcast and Down South Philly show. And follow us on all social medias, Down South Philly.
Down South Philly, baby.
Yeah.